Awesome. So this time on the Brunswick Buzz, we've got two folks to join me. Thank you for both for being here. Elizabeth Sokoloff and Shawn Lambert, Assistant Superintendent. Really excited to have you both here.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
And we're going to talk about Brunswick Cares, which is a new topic really in Brunswick, new-ish topic,
Yes.
right? So let's do introductions. I already did, but let's give a little background. So Elizabeth, will you start off and share anything you'd like to share about yourself?
My name is Elizabeth Sokoloff, and I've served on the school board since 2017, so
Yeah.
I'm in my 9th year.
Cool.
And I am currently the vice chair of the school board, and Shawn and I put Brunswick Cares together. We started talking about it, I think, in 2022, maybe?
About that, yeah.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, and we were just
okay.
finding a way to make it happen, and so it took some time, but we launched this together in September of 2024
Nice.
is when we became active.
That's when we became active.
Yep.
We actually, well,
Yeah, so Shawn, how long have you been in the district? Let's do
So
that. You're Assistant
since-
Superintendent, but
right.
how long have you been with
I-
us?
I came 2019, so July
Okay.
of 2019, so it's
Yep.
my 7th year in the district, and among my many roles, right, is
a lot of roles.
There's a lot of different roles, right, and a lot of
Yeah.
it kind of comes down to sort of student support is
Yep.
a big part of it. So that means a lot of things, right? That means counselors, social workers, but it also means extracurricular activities and school programming and supports, and how do you get students, how do you increase engagement, and
Yeah,
how do you make sure that we are equitable in how we do things.
Yeah.
So that's been a passion, and I think we've kind of been talking about that since I got here, really, and trying to kind of figure out
how to do it.
how to do that.
Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning, 2022. Was there a precipitating event, or was there something that happened, Elizabeth, that
I
the
feel
two of
like
you
we were
kind of said, hey, let's,
We were making moves as a district to get some things into our budget to
Okay.
sort of make for equity's sake. Like
Yep.
I remember the musical instruments.
Yep, at Harriet Beecher Stowe,
uniforms,
yep.
things like that. So we were always having the conversation about trying to even the playing field, no pun intended, right,
Yeah.
for our students. Whether they wanted to participate in music or art or athletics or theater or what have you, just sort of having fewer and fewer things to worry about in terms of what they were paying for
Yeah.
out of pocket. But we knew that we couldn't use the budget for everything because there are limitations to that. And I should say, sort of at the same time, I was sort of finishing up my tenure as president of the Emergency Action Network.
Okay,
And there's some similarities, but also some differences. So
Mhm.
TEAM works with the community to sort of move goods around.
yep,
But the idea, right, is that every family and every student in Brunswick has the basic needs met so that they can come to school and thrive. And
Yeah.
that's basically what TEAM was about.
yep,
So we were starting to think about how that might translate into specifically school-related activities and co-curriculars that are supposed to be open and free to all, but of course,
There's some
these
hidden
barriers,
hidden
these
barriers, right?
financial
Yeah.
barriers that
Yep,
can get really overwhelming for families, especially families with multiple kids who want to do multiple things.
yeah, yeah,
So that's when, and then we decided you can talk about the 501c3.
Yeah, so we were looking, and what we're describing is the situation before. It's not unique, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every school district, everybody, who went to school can think back of the different activities that were available in the school programs and the out-of-pocket expenses,
Yeah.
right, that were associated with that. And it was just kind of the way things are. And
Yeah.
it still is, really, the way things are in most places. And the great thing about education is really a calling. It's a profession, but it's really kind of a calling. And people who are
Totally.
drawn to education, I've never met an educator yet who wouldn't help when they knew that there was a situation.
yeah,
The problem is, just because we make that available doesn't mean that the recipients know that there is always something available.
mm-hmm,
So I think a lot of people, maybe the three of us even, have benefited from support from the school district that they went
right,
to,
yeah,
formally or informally, and but it's not the norm. it's not systemized, and so you can't really call it a safety net to help with equity, because if you don't know it exists, then you're not going to use it.
You won't be able to access it. Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
And so
Use,
a lot
yeah.
of this was really, how do we kind of create a system that allows to lower that barrier to participation
Yeah,
by, you know, there's a lot involved here, right? One of them is having the seed money to
Yeah.
start. We'll talk about that.
yeah,
And another one is having a system, because we're not in the general assistance
good, yes, right.
world, right?
Yeah,
We're not, and we don't have the capacity
yeah,
for documentation, and we don't want to do that because, of course, a school is a very different environment than the you know, general community.
yeah.
So how do you kind of align all of those things? And I think that was the challenging part. And so we had conversations, you know, I had been involved with Teen, and I knew what Teen was trying to accomplish of providing those supports. And we had been talking about gate receipts.
yeah.
That's really what led it.
Let me first, before you start that though, just a couple things for listeners or watchers or either way, but this is a nonprofit, not a Brunswick
Right.
School District funded organization.
Right.
Brunswick Cares, right? So far, correct, right?
That's
So I want to make sure people know that this is it's a separate entity that works with the district, supports students in our district.
Right.
And that's where the 5013C
Yeah.
aspect came from. So can you, I think that's probably a place I'd like to start,
Okay.
and then go to how you funded it,
Sure.
how it kind of go from there. But I wanted people to really know, like, wait, who's paying for this, right? Because that's often,
That's fair.
I get asked regularly,
That's fair.
you know, so,
So one of the reasons when
Yeah.
I had made a proposal to the board, I think it was actually December of '23,
okay,
which is, I think, still online, so you can actually look at that. But we talked about the whole picture, and one of the things we talked about was the importance of it being an independent nonprofit,
gotcha,
because that allows us to do a couple of things. One, it allows us to be confidential, is the most important thing.
well, okay,
Because if in a school district, you know, everything can be subpoenaed,
Yeah.
right? I mean, everything is, it's public.
Yeah.
Schools are public. And when we're talking about supporting students, there's a potential issue of confidentiality there if down the road, somebody, for whatever reason, I can't even imagine, when I want to see the records. Well, now I need to show you the records of families that trusted us to reach out.
yeah,
So we
Wow.
wanted to create an independent entity that really afforded us that kind of confidentiality.
mm,
That doesn't mean that the records aren't all there and we have
Yeah,
systems in
right.
place, but what was the primary reason?
yeah,
We also didn't want it to be taxpayer funded.
that's why I kind of wanted to open that
Yeah,
door, right?
no, I
I mean, I remember you guys saying that, it's like,
understand.
no, this is going to be a separate entity, this is not going to be taxpayer funded, right? We
Yeah.
have budgets, we try to manage those really strictly, or not strict, you know, we
Yeah.
manage those, you know, and try to be respectful of our taxpayers' dollars. So, okay, so those are the two
Yeah.
things, taxpayer dollars, confidentiality.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And that kind of led, do you want to talk about gate receipts?
How it's seen, so that's how you kind of,
That's
you
kind of where the
started.
door sort
Yeah.
of opened.
okay,
So I'm not fully aware of like the way back history on this, but when I came on board,
yep,
my understanding is that for many home athletic events, we were charging people a nominal fee to come in and watch their kids, or if it were community
Yeah.
members, watch kids play. And I think it was called the Dragon Fund.
Dragon Fund.
okay,
And
right,
that pot of money was never specifically used for anything. I think it was sort of like the idea that it would go to certain things, but that maybe those needs never arose. So that pot grew over time.
mhm,
And that was all, you know, I think $2, $3, maybe $5 donations that added up over years and years. And so when Shawn and I were looking to figure out how we were going to launch Brunswick Cares, obviously you need some seed money.
yeah,
Because it's very hard with a nonprofit to launch it and focus on your systems and make sure everything's working, at the same time, be worrying about fundraising and development. It's really
Yeah.
hard to do both at once.
I bet.
So we were looking around for seed money, and the idea of the Dragon Fund came up from policy
Came up through
committee.
policy, there were a lot
Yeah.
of policy conversations.
Yeah, and that's also me as chair of policy.
Yep.
So
A lot of,
my
Hats
my
crossing.
brain was going
Yep.
like, oh, okay, so we have this money that's sitting there that really hasn't been earmarked for anything. And for all intents and purposes, the athletic department was being funded through
Yeah,
our budget, which is appropriate.
it had been earmarked for uniform replacement.
right,
For
okay.
athletic uniform on a rotating schedule,
that-
so there
yeah.
was some, and then there were some, additional expenses that the budget wouldn't support. It's sort of like an enterprise fund
Mhm.
that could do that, but the feeling was that as a school district, if you're gonna have a program, you need to fund the program.
Yeah, yeah.
And so if you're gonna have athletics, you need to fund the uniforms.
Yeah.
Just like.
I think, and that was great. On the board-wise, I thought that was great, right?
Yeah.
Here we have
Part
these
of that.
offerings, but
Right.
we're sort of going to pay for it, or a
Right.
portion can, but as opposed to, no, we're going to offer it, we're going to do it all.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
That's really where
that's kind of where the
like,
impetus.
okay, so
Yeah.
let's fully fund these things. And also, we were identifying that gate receipts were also a barrier
Yeah.
potentially to people to come visit. I mean, students were often free, not necessarily always free, but community members, if we want more community
Yeah.
involvement, then let's remove the gate.
I think can I just harp on that for a second?
Yeah.
I think I remember back, that was a big issue.
Yeah.
Was-
And that we had a lot of, I'll say a lot of students that didn't have the resources to come to an event. And I know our administration or anyway, administration staff that would, let them go in or whatever, but it was my words, no one else's, but it's weird. It felt a little like, wait, we're gonna let this person, not that person, we're not asking, and these people are that
Yeah.
was one of the impetuses that I remember, which was like, wait, why are we doing this?
Well,
This doesn't
it's
feel
not
right.
just-
A
it's
family
not
of
just
5 or a
the
family of
students, right? I mean,
6 to come to an
Parents were
event.
having- Parents and guardians and grandparents and
Absolutely,
neighbors were
not just
all
students.
having to come in and to watch their kid participate in whatever sport it was. They were having to pay. And again, if you have multiple kids doing multiple things,
Yeah.
and that felt very wrong. Again, a big red flag in terms of equity, right?
Yeah.
We want everyone to feel, and again, it was that informal, like, well, you can just go in, but
Yep.
if you don't know that, and also there's stigma with that.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
don't want to show up and be told, oh, you have to pay $3 and then not
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
We don't want to put anyone through that.
Yeah.
So the policy committee brought to the board the idea of discontinuing the collection of all home
All gates.
gain
Yep.
receipts. Now, one thing that got a little bit confusing at sometime is that the MPA sometimes hosts different events.
That's right.
So we're still trying to
The Maine
communicate with
Principals
the public
Association, right,
exactly about
right.
which,
Those sanctioned events.
those are
So
different.
that is
MPA,
different.
KBAC,
Yep.
and, we
Yes,
don't-
exactly.
We can
Yeah.
control a lot of things,
Yeah.
but we can't control.
So this is
outside.
for
Okay, so-
Brunswick.
Yeah, so you
hosted
took those
events.
gate receipts, board approved to allocate those
Yep.
funds to Brunswick Care.
Mhm.
I know that was
Board
all
voted
all
unanimously to
voted.
let
It's
us
all
use that.
online. Someone can
right.
see, you can watch, you can read
Yep.
those minutes and whatnot. So that funds Brunswick Cares. That kind of gets it
Got it started.
rolling.
Yep.
Gets it rolling. And once you get started rolling, moving, let's jump into what it's used for or how, and maybe that's too far along on the
No,
story,
no, it's
but it
not.
feels like
No,
that
it's-
might be a good place
Let's
to.
back up a little bit.
Little bit,
because
yeah.
The next step for Shawn and I, and we're both big systems people, but this was a challenge, is to figure out how district-wide we were gonna take these requests that we're
Request.
gonna get funneled.
Yes, sure.
right?
Okay, because they're probably coming from a lot of different places.
Well, that's the whole purpose, is kids can self-refer.
Yep.
Parents can ask for help, on behalf of their students.
yeah.
Teachers, really anyone can refer. So we have these requests coming in from all angles, and we were trying to figure out these flow charts, right? Of like,
We have,
where is it coming in, and then where does it go, and where do those people do with it?
We have a lot of versions of flowcharts.
Yeah. So it was kind of like a puzzle.
It was.
And the thing that solved the puzzle, to be honest, is the willingness of our staff to step up. I mean, I could cry when I think about
Yeah,
this.
cool.
To step up and say, I will take care of that. Like, I have to immediately shout out to Alyssa
Yeah, Alyssa Poirier.
Poirier.
At the high school
at the
here?
high
She's
school,
our
yeah.
purchaser.
Yeah.
Okay,
She does
as,
all the purchasing for the entire district.
okay, for Brunswick Cares,
Yes.
on behalf of Brunswick
That's
Cares.
right.
For Amazon. So,
Yep,
so one of the things because we're not a private entity. I mean, we're nonprofit, but we're not a private entity. And so how do you kind of create a sort of an almost, you have to create a way to solicit requests, a way to vet requests, a way to funnel requests, and then a way to process requests.
yeah, implement or get them out the door,
Get
if you
them
will.
out the door and
Yeah.
actually do it. And we
Yeah.
didn't, and we knew we didn't want to work in cash,
Yep,
right? We didn't want to just say, here's $20, go buy,
yeah,
you know, whatever. That's not good. We needed to have some control over the finance, but we also needed to give up control over the item, because we also didn't want to say, hey, we bought this, you know, crate of sneakers for people and you can have it, because that's, you know, these
Yeah.
are kids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're people. So we really kind of designed a two-tier system of, so the requests come in, we can talk about that too, because that was also a process.
Yep.
But then we either go Amazon or we go vendor.
okay,
And so if somebody needs an item, let's say cleats,
yeah,
right?
okay, sporting
It's
cleats,
going to be Amazon. So the way the process works is, and let's use a high school student. So the student or a staff member on their behalf or their parents puts a request in. It's a drop-down menu request.
Very short Google form on our website,
Mhm.
which
Right.
I'll just say right now is www.brunswickcares.net.
Mhm.
And on our homepage is a request support button. It'll take you directly to a very short Google form. We do not ask any questions about
If you're asking,
financial. If
you
you're
need it.
asking, we
Yeah.
trust that you need help.
Let me just ask this, have to be a Brunswick School Department student
And it has to be a
Yes.
school-related activity.
in a school-related
It has to be a
activity. So
school-related
those are
activity.
two,
That was
okay, so
something
two
we had
things.
to work
Brunswick student, meaning BSD student,
Mhm.
and then school-related
School-
activity. So
school-sponsored.
we're using the cleat examples, that's a
Right.
sporting team, we'll say, right? So
Right.
they're whatever sport they're using cleats for. But that's the example. So they get, student or parent, family, somebody puts that request in,
Right.
goes, and what
Comes to me.
happens? Comes to you,
Everything
okay.
goes to Shawn.
And I vet it, just by, and vetting means, sure, that fits our our category.
Yep.
So we, for example, we aren't able to support Parks and Rec,
Okay, okay.
because that's not school sponsored. It's
Brunswick,
not,
yeah,
it's not in our
yep,
mission.
School department,
So it's not
okay.
what we can do. And then we also had to, we had to refine the categories of, we had to help people. Because they might reach out and say they needed help, but they couldn't really specify what it is they needed.
Hmm.
So that's why we have categories of graduation regalia and school photos and athletic equipment, I think, and then I can't even remember all the categories.
There's many.
Art,
they
music,
get to
all
pick
these
those.
They're
things.
increasing all the time
Yeah.
as we become more aware.
Yeah,
of
do
needs
a
that we
new
hadn't
request or
anticipated.
something like
That's
that, you'll add, okay, so you do that,
So it
you
comes
vet
to
it,
me, I
yeah,
vet it, if we need more information, that's the thing, is we also decided that we're not gonna say no. We're gonna say, we can't, but let's see if we can find someone
We
else.
always refer. So
Okay.
it either bounces to teen or some other organization or
Okay.
supports us. We don't set them back
Yeah.
into the world without help,
without some
one
support,
way or the
yeah,
other. Yeah.
okay,
So let's assume that the answer is yes. Somebody needs, so-and-so needs, let's say cleats. And then every building has a building rep.
okay,
So at the high school, it's Caitlin Urgis. At the junior high, it's Andrea, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name.
Shadler?
Shadler,
Shadler,
sorry.
yeah, sure, there's a lot of people, yeah.
Tracy Carrier at
HB, Harry Beecher,
HBS.
yep,
And I think it's Abby, right?
Abigail,
Abby Turner
okay,
is
Turner,
at
yep,
Kate
Abby
Furnish.
Turner, yep.
And
So you have a rep at each school,
we have a rep at every school.
if you will, yeah,
Because we can talk about the difference in the elementary school
Yeah.
and the high school, but, So I will then send an email to the person requesting, saying, we've got your request, it looks like something we can help with, so-and-so will be in contact with you. Mrs. Urgis will then reach out to the child, to the student, and find out what they need, sometimes with the parents, depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because our building reps are really the ones who know the situations, because they all know our kids.
Yeah.
And so they're the ones who are able to help. And then if it's Amazon, they literally go shopping. Okay, so Mrs. Urgis and the student are there, and they're picking out this or that, or whatever it happens to be. And once that's done, it goes to any Amazon order from any goes to Alyssa Poirier, who will go ahead and process that.
Mm-hmm.
It gets sent to the school. The building rep gets it, and the building rep then gives it to the student.
Just so discreetly, the student gets it, family gets it, parent, whomever,
Exactly.
they get it, and they're on their way. In this case, it was cleats.
Right.
So that student is then able to go to the next game, practice, whatever, with a pair of cleats, or
Yep.
begin the season, or whatever.
We're
Yeah.
actually getting, I'd say, more requests from coaches.
Yeah, they know their students,
They
right?
know
So
they know their
maybe a
athletes.
student shows up with some ripped cleats or whatever,
Right.
or small cleats, right? I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but I was that kid that had
Yeah.
my brother's cleats, right?
Yeah.
You can use these next year, So
Exactly.
anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But those are examples. Coaches are jumping in
They
and
are.
supporting and
Yes.
coming up, okay.
So then I'll just do the vendor pathways a little
Yeah.
bit. And the reason I call it vendor is.
Oh, right, because you had the Amazon pathway,
is the
and now
Amazon
there's a vendor
and then-
pathway.
But if it's school photos, for
Okay,
example.
sure.
We're not gonna buy those on Amazon, you're gonna buy them from the photographer that we use.
Right,
Or if it's music, either supplies, because we're pretty good as a district
Yep.
about providing the equipment. But there's still out-of-pocket expenses
Yeah.
with playing an instrument.
yeah,
And
Or
repair and things like that.
the apparel, right?
Oh,
for-
gosh, yeah, concert attire
concert
at
Yeah.
the high
attire.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's certain vendors that we use, and
Yep.
it all goes through the activities account.
okay,
So that is, they will process that and then invoice us, and then we pay that.
great,
Mhm.
good, okay.
And then another vendor is our medical provider for athletic physicals.
Yep, Convenient MD, who's
And
partnered with us for
so
a
we
bit
had our
now.
existing vendors that we already had relationships with, and then throughout this first year that we were in business, we started to see like frequent requests, let's say for running shoes.
Yep,
So we sort of created a new relationship, right?
with a vendor,
It was
yeah.
Fleet Feet, now it's called Marathon something. It's
sports, yeah,
on
something like
Main
that.
Street.
Yeah,
So I went in there 3 or 4 or 5 times, and then finally it was like, okay, we need to have
yeah,
a more formalized relationship.
Yep.
So I think Alyssa worked with one of the store managers behind the scenes.
Great.
So we're constantly adding
yeah,
vendors.
Which is another benefit of being an independent 501c3.
yeah, right,
Because as a school, there are channels.
yes, yeah,
And we could make it happen, I think, but it's a whole lot easier when
Yeah.
it's an independent organization.
wow, okay. That's really cool. And then you must, like you said before, your list, your drop-down or examples continues to expand, right?
Yes.
Because every student is, or every need is unique. I know
Yeah.
that's the case, but we use cleats a couple times, but
Yeah.
maybe the other one is, like you said, outfits or prom. I don't know if that's
Prom.
another one, but
We did.
that might be, did you?
Senior,
Okay.
yeah.
I would think that would be, I thought it might be logical.
We're-
So, or photos, that's another, anyway, but the point being is there's,
We're actually kind of, sort of through a lot of Mrs. Urgis dabbling into senior photos.
Yeah, which is
Oh.
cool.
right, because that's again,
So-
hidden barrier,
Yeah.
right? I don't know about
So
you, but yeah.
paying-
Yeah.
Brunswick Cares paying a professional photographer to set some time aside, come to the high school, kids sign up, and
Yep.
they get a short one-on-one,
Great,
Right.
yeah.
you know,
Oh, wow,
um,
yeah.
little
Yeah.
photo shoot or
Pretty neat.
whatever.
That's really cool.
Because that's expensive.
Oh, of course it is.
Right?
Yeah,
And you
right.
want professional quality. A
Yeah.
lot of people, that's
Yeah.
a big deal, so.
Yeah,
My favorite, and I won't get too specific, but as a former career and technical
Yeah.
education director, is CTE supplies.
oh,
So
sure, okay.
students who go to Region 10, there's supplies that are required there, whether it be steel-toed boots sometime, or
Yep.
welding masks,
Right,
and things
right.
like that. We don't get a lot of that, but we do get it, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
Another need that we didn't really anticipate, that we were like, oh, right, AP exams and SATs, they all have fees. right out
Yeah,
of
right, we
pocket.
don't pay for that,
Nope.
right?
So
right,
kids
yeah.
that want access to that, to those assessments or whatever, just need to request
Yeah.
for support. I think we mentioned caps and gowns and yearbooks and all the graduation
Yeah,
related
those ones,
stuff. So we're always adding,
yeah,
but we have some definitely repeat.
yeah.
And the best thing, of course, is that the more we do, I think you said we had over 100 requests our first year.
100 and, I brought the numbers.
Yeah.
You did, yeah,
100
what is
we
the
had
fir-
119
Yeah.
requests the first year.
Okay,
And we were able to grant, I think, 71 of those.
I think
According
so,
to mine.
and which translates to $6,500 in funding.
Mhm.
okay,
Um,
okay.
So this is not, I mean, that's a lot of money. That's not a lot of money.
No, right.
Right, you-
But
you
it means
know-
a lot if you
you know,
need, if you're the
but-
person that needs that, pick that
Small
item,
investment for a
yes,
big payout.
for a big payout,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
for an
really is.
opportunity for a student, or, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just ask this, because we talked about, it's student though, it's not family,
It's student.
right? Because we have other things that we've talked about on the Brunswick Buzz
Yeah.
before, which is if unhoused youth or family that is in need of housing and et cetera. We have opportunity, we have grants and funding through that. This is not that. This is for students.
Right,
So far, correct, right?
yes.
Correct.
Okay, so that 6,500 was student-focused,
Right.
that piece, okay, okay.
Yeah.
How many people, what did you say, 60-something? Is that 60-something students that did it, or 71
No, 70.
So out of the
71.
119 requests that got
funded?
sent,
Yeah,
70 some were met, meaning they fell under the purview of our mission.
Okay,
They were with the schools
okay,
sponsored, and
yeah.
so we didn't send anyone away
Yep.
that quote unquote qualified, right?
Yes.
For the Brunswick Cares,
yeah,
what we do. I think we sent people to teen for
Yep.
sure. I know.
and
we
teens
worked
still active and
directly-
still,
Yep,
Yep,
with teen.
okay,
So.
A number of the early ones were why we refined our categories.
Yes.
can you give an example?
They would, well, we've now for 2 years staffed the open house welcome back night.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And get some interest. And actually, last year, when was really our official launch, we did a mass mailing
okay,
as well.
yep.
Which
To
we never-
families
we-
soliciting
right.
their,
To let
see if
them
they
know
had a
that
that we're
need, see
here
if they had a
and what we
need,
do.
right, yep,
So what was interesting from last year to this year was we went to all 4 schools for their back-to-school nights.
yeah,
And we spent the entire evening just over and over again telling people about us, telling people what we do, explaining to them how
Yeah.
they can request. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, right? And then we spent a lot of time working with staff and visiting with staff at different schools
Yep.
to tell them, don't pay anything out of pocket anymore. We know
Right.
teachers do that all day long.
yeah, they do,
Don't do that.
right,
And always, refer, use us, get the word out. Anytime you're sending any communications home, like Brandon Duras is great at this.
Yep.
Like,
We have a phrase that we want people to
To
use.
use.
right,
yeah.
like
So
just
that
a
they-
blurb saying,
Okay.
if you need any support for this, go to this website.
Great.
Like there's Brunswick Cares, and it's
Good.
included in all of those communications. So this year we went back, and I can't speak for you, we split up this
Right.
year.
yeah.
But
And you say the open houses,
yeah,
Yeah.
most people knew about us.
They did.
okay,
And they came up to the table just to tell me how wonderful they thought it was.
oh, that's
And-
awesome,
And I don't choke up easily,
Yeah.
but that was a little rough.
Cool.
I'll be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
it really, it just, I mean, it's great for them, and honestly, it's great for us.
how do you fundraise, right? Because
So that's
you
what
talked
we're gonna
about the
talk
fund,
about.
yeah, so how do
Yeah.
you do that?
Kind of the next
Or what
thing.
are some next steps that you're doing?
So last spring, our board met. We have a
Seven-member
person,
board.
yeah, and 7-member board.
Okay,
And we met to talk about phasing, now that we've launched and we've worked out most of the kinks, we were gonna talk about how to begin raising
so
money.
sustainability of raising,
And we
yeah,
talked about all the things, right? Like you can do an event, you can do this, and we're all incredibly busy people.
Yeah.
And so there's 2 reasons why we decided on what we decided on, which is called our Gimme 5 campaign, which I'll explain in a moment. But
yeah,
we wanted to make it simple for everyone to donate. Not only do we want to make like school activities more accessible for every student, we also want to make donating accessible for every family that thinks this is a good idea and wants to support it. So what we're asking people to do is donate $5 a month. And that's easily done through our website, and I can walk through the steps of how to do that, but there's a donate button. You can choose $5 monthly. It's an automatic thing. And what we talk about is over time what an impact that can make. Like 3 or 4 months of that could purchase, you know, a yearbook for a student or whatever. So the $5 we hope is like a very accessible amount. The goal is to get a lot of people to do a little bit. We're not looking for big donors. We're not looking for, I mean, we are.
We'll take a
take the money.
sponsor.
Yeah,
Sure,
no.
we'll take a
But-
sponsor.
but the idea
the way that
being
you're doing this is
that if-
community-driven, ground up, if you will.
That's right. And if
Yeah.
people want to help us,
Yeah.
and they're not in a position where they can write big checks, as most of us are not,
Yeah.
this is a way they can add in and support
Yeah.
without making a huge financial commitment.
That's awesome. So how do they do that? What's the website
So
again?
if you go to our website, Brunswick
You go to the Brunswick SD, so you go to,
Net.
yep. Or you're.
You can, but we
you
have a
can,
separate
but you have a
website
separate
that we are-
website.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, 'cause
So
we're-
say it again, sorry.
BrunswickCares.net,
Okay.
all one word, BrunswickCares.net. And I believe on our homepage, there's a menu, and one of the buttons says Donate Today. If you go to that, it's a very simple thing where you can choose your amount. It can be a one-time or a
Okay.
reoccurring donation, and that's
Yeah.
what the Gimme 5 campaign is about, is just $5 a month. And we have sort of launched that when we went to the schools for the back-to-school night. Shawn and I, our major focus those evenings were, of course, to tell people about what we
Yeah.
did and
Yeah.
continue to get the word out,
Cool.
but also to offer for people that don't necessarily need the support, but like the idea
Yeah.
to help us.
Yeah.
So we're going to meet soon and
Yeah.
talk about how to get that word out further.
Yep.
We'll probably be including it in a lot of the community newsletters
Great.
that come out.
Yeah,
We'll,
absolutely.
and any other way that we can. We have to brainstorm some more
Good.
ideas. It's a slow roll, you know. It's just
Makes
the
a big
idea
difference.
is the idea
Yeah, it
is
really
we just
does.
slowly gather more and more people that want to support us. I'll tell you one thing that's been amazing though
Yeah.
in our donations. We have the ability to go in and look and see. A lot of people will donate anonymously,
Mm-hmm.
but we've had kids that have donated birthday money
Really?
to Brunswick Cares.
Cool.
Students, 2 that I can think of. One had a birthday party, and in lieu of gifts, he requested donations to
that.
Brunswick Cares.
That's cool.
And the other one said something, and he came up to my table, by the
did
way,
he?
at the high school.
no kidding.
Yeah.
And he said that he gets a big check from his grandma every year, and that he didn't need all of it.
Oh my
So
gosh.
he gave $50 to Brunswick
That's so
Cares.
cool.
Yeah. So
That's
it's not
fun.
just
Really neat.
families and
Yeah.
the community members getting in the game, but it's students
That's cool.
who think this is I had a kid hand me $5 out of her wallet. You have it sitting on your desk.
There you go.
Because I was like, I don't
That's
know what to do
awesome.
with this, so
Yeah.
I gave it to you.
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
because she's like, I
Oh,
want to
that's
help, but I
good.
don't know.
Yeah.
And she just like
Oh,
started
that's
to
cool.
pull ones out of her wallet.
That's awesome.
I think it kind of goes to the idea. I mean, we're in a very generous community.
Yeah, we are.
We are in a very generous and a very supportive
Very
community.
supportive.
And they want to help. And I think to some extent, what we're able to do is to provide a system for doing that. I don't think, you know, I suspect that the donors we get probably would have donated that money anyway, somewhere else. But this is there is no administrative overhead, right? I
Yeah.
mean, this is
That's
like
a good
this
point
is
to
a
say, right?
direct-
This is
We work
money
for
in,
free.
money out.
We work
Yeah.
for free,
Yeah.
which is why we're not always
Yeah.
on top of things, but
Yeah.
we try.
Yeah.
But it's just an opportunity, and I think it's a model that can be used in a lot of places. As a matter of fact, we're going to the main school management,
Yeah.
when we're presenting on this,
Awesome.
because it's a replicatable. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Replicable.
Replicable.
Yeah.
There we go.
Replicable? Okay.
It's all good.
Model that I think we can do this.
That's great. Well, thank you both for being on. And
Thanks
we'll
for
make sure
having
when we
us.
put when I put the buzz out, that we'll put a link to your website on the Brunswick Buzz site and say brunswickcares.net.
Yes.
And great, awesome, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for listening to the Brunswick Buzz. The Brunswick Buzz is available wherever you find your podcast.